If you're selling coaching over the phone and you want to sign more clients, this video might be one of the most important ones you watch all year. I'm about to share 5 powerful questions you can start using on sales calls right away to double or triple your close rate, which means more clients, more income, and more impact ASAP. Let's dive in. First question, and I love this question, it's one of my favorite questions to ask on sales calls, is when it comes to X, what's your number one biggest challenge right now? Now, by the way, when you're asking this question, you just gotta replace X with whatever specific area you focus on in your coaching. So for me, I'm a business coach, I help coaches. It would be when it comes to your coaching business, what's the number one biggest challenge that you have right now? Couple things I love about this question. The first is to remember that as a coach, you get paid to solve other people's problems. The only reason someone's gonna pay you is because they have a problem and they feel like your coaching is a bridge to help them solve that problem and get to some future destination, some future life where they don't have that problem and they're better off. This is why people pay you. And so the most important thing to figure out on a sales call first is what is the problem that someone is coming to you with that they want solved? I can't tell you how many coaches I see on sales calls. Like they get on the call and they start pitching before they're even clear on what problem they're solving. And it's like taking shots in the dark if you're trying to do this. There's no way you're ever gonna make a sale. The most important thing to do first is clarify what is that core problem that someone needs help with. Now, a couple things I love about the question and the way that I phrase this here that will really help you get to the core of what that problem actually is. The first thing is we're giving somebody an area of their life to focus on. So it's not what's your number one biggest challenge right now. It's when it comes to X, what's your biggest challenge right now? So we're narrowing the lane, which makes it easier for somebody to come up with an answer because they can look at one specific area of their life. It's a little bit less overwhelming. So I like the focus of this question, as well as that number one biggest challenge is really important. And the last thing I love about this question is asking that question, what's your number one biggest challenge right now? If you don't ask this question this way, and I've learned this the hard way through doing hundreds of sales calls, oftentimes what will happen is someone will go into their backstory and they'll tell you about the 2 years that led up to where they are today. And you'll waste 5 minutes talking about their past instead of just getting to what's actually going on right now. So I'm not particularly interested in someone's backstory when I'm on a sales call. The most important thing for me is what's going on right now. What can we help you with right now? And so asking that question in that way, using that language, will help someone get right to what's going on. You won't waste as much time talking about the past, which really helps you clarify what that core problem is today that you can help someone with. Now, before we get to the other 4 questions that you can ask potential clients on sales calls to increase the chance that they sign up to work with you, look, selling really well, knowing how to ask the right questions on sales calls, super important to your success as a coach, but there are also a number of other keys you gotta have in place in your business if you wanna sign clients. You gotta have a great offer, you gotta know how to market yourself, all of those things, super important. You don't have those things in place, you could have the best sales skills in the world, but you're still not gonna sign clients. So if you're looking for a roadmap that you can follow to dial in those other pieces, I put together a free client attraction guide that walks through so much of my best advice to help you get coaching clients consistently, 2, 3, 4, or more high-paying coaching clients month after month. You can get this completely free. I'd love to share it with you. It's really super valuable stuff. All you gotta do is click the link above or in the description down below. Okay, so you've got question number 1 in place. Hopefully you've checked that box. You've gotten clear on a problem or challenge that you can help your potential client with on that sales call. Where do you go from here? This is question number 2, and I love this question. I use it all the time on sales calls, which is what impact is that having on your life? Truth is, a problem is not enough. A problem I think of as like very heady. It's very intellectual. But people don't make decisions from an intellectual place. They don't think their way through to buying. They feel something. And that is what makes them motivated to wanna sign up for your coaching program. It's the emotions that ultimately drive the decision. And so once we've identified that problem, what we wanna do is we wanna get one layer deeper and help someone connect to more of that emotional reality, the pain or the emotional experience that is a result of having that problem. And this question, what impact is this having on your life, is really powerful to help you do that. As an example, let's say I get on a sales call with a potential client and I ask them about their number one biggest challenge and they say getting clients. And I'm like, okay, well, what impact is that having on your life? Like not being able to get clients. They might start telling me about the financial stress that they're experiencing at home, or the fact that they feel really discouraged in their business. They're feeling like this lack of motivation because they feel just like stuck. Like they're in that place where they're showing up and they're doing the work, but they're not getting results. And as someone starts to open up about this, suddenly we get more emotion on the table and they're talking to me about how they're feeling. And we're not just talking about like this heady intellectual problem. We're actually underneath that problem and we're talking about more of that emotional reality. So as a way of extending this question, you might say, well, what impact is that having on X. And you could plug in a specific area of their life that maybe is not directly related to that area that you help them with, but something else. So for example, if someone telling you they're 20 to 30 pounds overweight, you might say, well, what impact is that having on your relationship with your partner? Listen, while they're talking about, hey, we haven't really had any intimacy, and I just feel like I'm afraid to be seen with my clothes off, and I feel uncomfortable, and I'm lacking self-confidence. And so now we're not just talking about someone's health, we're talking about how this problem in the area of their health impacts all of these other areas of their life. So we can take this problem, we can start to expand it and talk more about the emotional reality that someone's experiencing, as well as the impact that this has on other dimensions of their life. And when someone connects to these things on a sales call, they start to see their problem in a bigger way. And when someone connects to the bigness of their problem, they're much more likely to want to make a change and ultimately work with you. That's a great first step on a sales call. And honestly, if you do a good job here, you're going to be ahead of 90% of coaches out there who just get on sales calls and pitch things to people before they even know what the problem is. Doesn't work very well. Spoiler, does not work. I would not recommend that. That being said, identifying a clear problem and the impacts of that problem, not enough for somebody to want to work with you. Someone also has to feel connected to what's on the other side of that problem and really feeling connected to that sense of desire around wanting that future and wanting to step into that reality. When you can help somebody do that and help someone connect to that, that is really when they're going to feel motivated to make a change. Because if someone just feels like there's a problem, they don't really feel connected to something on the other side of that problem. They're just going to complain all day. They're going to be like, oh, I have this problem. I have this problem. But if someone realizes and really connects to that sense of like, wow, this is what life could be without this problem. Here's how much better things can be. Here's this vision that I have about the future without this problem. That is really what's going to motivate them to make a change and ultimately to work with you. So that brings us to question number 3, which is, when it comes to X, what do you really want? This is a question that illuminates someone's vision, someone's goal. So I might ask a coach, well, when it comes to your coaching business, what do you really want? Where do you ultimately want to be? That's another way of asking this question and helping somebody illuminate that and connect to that. And so someone might say, well, I want to make 6 figures and I want to be making 10K months, and I want to wake up every day and have a full roster of clients that I love to work with and I feel energized by, and I want to quit my 9 to 5 and be coaching full time. And as somebody talks about this and they share this vision with me, they're feeling more and more connected to that future reality, that realization that there is something better for them. If they can just solve this problem, they can be on this other side and experiencing all of this goodness in their life. And that is what motivates someone to want to make a change, right? So obviously you're going to plug in your specific area that you help people with. When you ask this question, when it comes to your health, what do you really want? When it comes to your relationship, what do you really want? Obviously depends on what kind of coaching you do, but the question is basically the same. And this is a very powerful question that you can ask to really help someone illuminate what that goal really is. Okay, so if you've done a good job asking questions 1 through 3, you've connected someone to those problems, those desires, the things that they want. If they're a good fit and you can help them, there's a pretty good chance that they're going to sign up to work with you. But someone also has to feel connected to why you're the right person to help them. There's so many coaches out there who might be able to help them solve this problem. Maybe they're even exploring other options, other coaches to be able to help them with this. One thing that's really important about sales calls is you want to help someone connect to that sense of like, you're the right person to help me. And there's a couple different ways you could do this. What most people do is they just try to tell someone why they're the best fit. It's like, hey, I'm the best fit to help you with this because of X, Y, Z. And it's important to realize that when you do this, generally you're going to turn people off because people don't like to be like sold on you. And when you're like telling them how great you are and all this stuff, it's like, it comes off as needy and kind of pushy. And like, I don't really want to like do that. Like it just doesn't feel good and it doesn't really work that well. Far better to ask a question that helps someone sell themselves on you without you actually having to do anything. So my favorite question to do this is question number 4, which is, what made you feel like I was the right person to help you with this? And let somebody talk about all the things that they saw on your social media profile and all the things that they saw in your email sequence and all the things that they saw from you that made them feel like you were the best person to help them. When someone does that, again, they're not just telling you, they're selling themselves, right? So you can do this and help someone connect to that sense of like, yeah, you're my person without having to say a word. And this is the absolute best way to sell anyone on anything, rather than trying to convince or trying to prove or trying to tell them how great you are. Just ask questions that help them sell themselves. And finally, that brings us to question number 5. This is a very powerful question as well, because for someone to want to make a change in their life, oftentimes it's not enough for someone to just realize they've got a problem, that there's something that they want, even that you're the right person to help them with, because there's a lot of momentum around the status quo. And so in order to kind of gently nudge someone out of that place where they're like just gonna do the same thing and be stuck in this life that they don't really want, one of the most powerful questions you can ask someone to help them do that is connecting them to what's called cost or consequences. In other words, if you keep going down this path, nothing changes, what is your life gonna look like 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the line? My favorite question to really help someone connect to this is, what happens if things don't change? Very simple question, but very, very powerful. So I've asked this hundreds of times on calls with coaches, and I hear all sorts of things. People sometimes break down and they start crying. They talk about how, if their coaching business doesn't succeed, it means they got to go back to a corporate job that they feel like they're boxed in and just like they're in this like prison that they don't want to be in. They're going to feel like they didn't succeed or didn't achieve their vision. They'll be on their deathbed and feel like there's regret. And so as somebody shares these things, and this can be a very intimate moment on a sales call, as you're listening, you're helping somebody connect to the fact that, yeah, there are consequences for, the status quo, for continuing to do things the way that I've been doing them. And as somebody connects to those things, they're going to be more and more motivated to wanting to make a change. And this is a very powerful question to ask potential clients. What happens if things don't change? Now, if you can integrate these 5 questions on sales calls, you'll be well ahead of most coaches out there and can easily double or triple your close rate. That being said, this is one key to success when it comes to signing clients. You also gotta have a great offer. You gotta have marketing that calls the right people in the first place so you can book sales calls. There's a lot of other pieces to success as well as a coach. And so if you're looking for a roadmap that you can follow in order to help you dial some of those other pieces in, I recommend downloading our free client attraction guide. You can get it right now. You just click the link above or down below. And inside that guide, I walk through a 4-step roadmap that I've shared with thousands of coaches to help them get more clients and grow their business and ultimately create success as a coach. So I would love to share this with you. It's completely free. Just click the link above or in the description down below to go download it right now. And if you love this video, you're definitely gonna love that one too. So click the link on the screen to go check that out, and I'll see you in the next video.